Thank you all and welcome again to all of you. Uh, so the two presidents have spoken. Mine will be a very small one, technical one in character. In case you're not following English, translations are available. These are earphones you can use, and you stick them in the side of this machine. And if you want to listen to it in Portuguese, you dial 2. If you want to listen in Spanish, you dial 3. Okay, and you can control all of this with the things on the side. So simultaneous translations are available. And you can listen to everything that is happening in Portuguese, in Spanish, and we shall arrange something later on for French also. So that's one. The second thing I like to do is you here in this room, and certainly in the course of the day, you would go to other parts of this building, and that's briefly what I want to show you. So a little bit about the history. Professor von Braun mentioned already about something beginning in the 16th century. So that's what it is. The Academy of the Social Sciences and the Social Sciences, structure of which you see out there, not the big one at the back. The big one at the back with the dome, that's not part of the Academy. That is St. Peter's Basilica, which you will see when we go down in the background. So the Academy is just what you see in front here, and of the sciences. It began a little bit in the 16th century. Started building in 1558, as you can see, by this architect, Design Piero Logoro, and all of that. So that's all not part of indigenous knowledge. So we'll skip that very quickly. The initiative was begun by this young guy at the right-hand corner. Chelsea is his name. He was a nephew of a cardinal. And he gathered a group of friends around him, all scientists, to begin research and conversation about science. And the guy on the left-hand on the top is Galileo Galilei. In 1610, he was welcomed to this group and started work here in the Academy. So you know the story. At the time, those days, a lot of things were, it wasn't the church which was conservative, but society itself could not still understand why it was not the earth, but the sun, which was the center of the universe. So the conflict began with Galileo's discovery and was later on settled by Pope Pius IX. So Galileo was fully welcomed into the Academy. That is the story out here. If your Latin is still alive, you could read that. So the animal in the middle there, lynx, is kind of mythical animal that is supposed to have a good foresight. Okay, and so that was adopted as a symbol for the Academy. So you go to a lot of places, they talk about lynchei or lynxes and all that. All has a reference. They have reference to that animal inside. And so this used to be called the lynchei of the scientists and all. So that's how it began. And so, as it were, this initiative later on spread very fast. It began here in 1603. In 1657, it got to Florence. In 1662, it got to London. In 1666, it got to Paris, and then to Berlin, and then to Russia. So if you want the culture of this academy, bringing scientists together to discuss anything, began here, and then began to spread abroad. Right now, we have a lot of academies of, sometimes arts and science or sciences every place around the world. But if you want, the modest beginnings were here, and it only tells one big story about, or one simple message. For the church, there's no tension between science and faith. Otherwise, a religious group did all that. So the thing having started here was not a state, was still the Vatican, was still a religious group. So faith and science in opposition, that is not true of the Catholic Church. Okay, so and it's promoted that till today. That's why we gathered here, and that's why this building also exists. So after Chelsea died, then this abbot, Feliciano Scarpellini, took it over. So as you can tell, it's been ups and downs a little bit till the thing got fully established. So he took over the vision and carried on till the days of Pope Pius IX. This is an interesting pope because under him, the city of Rome used to be the city of the popes. Okay, until under him, a group came from the Piemonte, so Florence and all, and decided to make Rome the capital of the Kingdom of Italy and push the popes into this small place we now call the Vatican. Okay, so under Pope Pius IX, the Vatican lost the territorial, character of its existence, and it became a small, religious thing inside in this small space of the Vatican. But he's also the guy who fully established Galileo's, presence in the academy. Several other things are related with him with regard to, the church. When the Vatican lost the territory, he came out with a new principle of Vatican intervention in peacemaking, the principle of paternity. He says the Pope is like a father of a household. When the nations are fighting, it's like children in a household fighting. You don't take the side of one against the other. Rather, you try to bring the two children together. So in the Vatican diplomacy, we hardly take sides. We like to rather, like children in a household, bring them all together instead of saying you are right and you are wrong. It's happened lately. Zelensky came to see the Pope and expected the Pope to condemn Russia. The Pope did not. He wasn't too happy, but that's the Vatican, way of doing things. So Pius established this, and his successor, Pius XI, when you look at the picture, where we are meeting now does not exist in the picture. It was built on the left hand, my left hand. Huh? So you see that thing like a small tower? There's space behind it. That space is where we gathered now. So Pius XI built this space as a modern meeting place for the academy, attached to the old structure, which is there, which we will shall visit or descend, go down to. So he was a man of the science, and he put together a big team of scientists to study the academy properly and recognize that as Academy of the Holy See, and the name for it is a Pontifical. When you hear or read anything with Pontifical, it just means that it belongs to the Pope. Okay, so he welcomed the initiative and idea and patronized it. The first team of scientists he brought here to start this, he told them, we're not bringing you here to recognize your status. We're bringing you here to recognize the role of science for humanity. Okay, so that's the initiative of Pius XI. And since then, the place was dedicated. That's the opening of this place where we gathered. You came through that door. That is that same door that the Pope was going through at the opening of it in 1933. And so the building, and since then, we've had all of these famous people serve in the academy. Galileo there, Marconi, you know the name, the radio. Who invited the radio? So Marconi is there, Fleming, Schroeder, Max Planck, German. So all of these big scientists have been members of this. And the last bit, you remember Stephen Hawking? You know him, the English guy, big mathematician and all of that. But there's one other guy you need to remember. The last but one, Paul Crutzen. Have you heard of Anthropocene? Okay. The guy who came up with that concept is Paul Crutzen, was also a member of this academy. And the Big Bang theory was also formulated by a priest who was a member of this academy, whose picture, whose statue you see around here. So That's been the Academy as a place of science and all of that, and all of this was still part of the Vatican. So these are the different popes who served the Academy, till the present one, Pope Francis, whom we met this morning. And then so all of these are different topics they deal with: astronomy, life science, physics, earth science, mathematics, epistemology, climate, and all of these other things. You heard Professor Van Braun, the sister, mention some of these themes that are there. And so these are some of the big meeting places with the different popes. Pope Paul VI presenting a medal to Hawkins, Pope Benedict, Pope Pius XII, and then Pope John Paul II, and then Pope John the 23rd. So all of these different people serving the life of the Academy. And these are some of the Academy in session. Some of the members, you still remember, because some of them are still here. On the left-hand corner, you see the man sitting there on the left-hand corner. You see him in this room. so Professor Hassan is still there. And then the chairman, Professor Von Braun, is still there, and all. So that is the Academy of the Sciences. In 1994, Pope John Paul II said it's not fair to just have Academy of the Sciences. There should also be Academy of the Social Sciences. So in 1994, Pope John Paul II started this initiative also, the birth of the Pontifical Academy of the Sciences, and it's been on there till today. So this seat now serves the two, Academy of Science and Academy of Social Sciences. Elsewhere in the world, you hear about Academy of Arts and Sciences. Okay, that's a popular name you hear about. Over here, we have Academy of Social Sciences and Academy of Sciences. So Pope John Paul II started that. The president of which is Sister Helen, whom you're looking at. And so these are different subject matters they deal with: anthropology, communication, economics, education, all of those issues, human equality, democracy, and all of that. And these are also some of the big names who have served and continue to serve the Academy of the Sciences. Some of the names you must be, Stiglitz, you know, right? Big economist. Mario Draghi. You are not all part members or children of the EU. Otherwise, you would have known all of those things. So in any case, so that's the Academy of the Sciences, and these are some of the works that are done. Some of the books you find here in the corner behind this door. And if there's any of interest, you can always help yourself. And this is the Academy again at work. And these are our website and addresses. So you just do www.pass.va. You see the difference is just one S and two S's. Between one S and two S's, you go to the two academies to visit their sites and see whatever they do. So this is briefly to introduce to where you are. So you know more, strangers to the Academy, you know where it's coming from and where it's been and continues to be. There are Nobel Prize winners on both academies, social sciences and the sciences, and they do all come here every now and then. The way of working, we will not take a lot of your time, but each of the groups has a council, and the council meets here and plans the events for each of the academies for the year. So this event was planned by the two councils and decided to be held in common. That's why in this room now, the members of the Academy of Sciences and Academy of Social Sciences, the two groups are now organizing this event. They will organize another one in May about climate and climate resilience. And again, will be science and the social sciences working on this together. So in that sense, we're glad to have all of you here. Indigenous knowledge, sometimes referred to as traditional knowledge, sometimes also referred to as the wisdom of the ancestors. You speak about it in so very many different ways, and the two presidents have spoken, so I'll reserve my comments about what indigenous knowledge is probably for later. So you're welcome, and we gain some time. We would like to make use of the time. So I'll give the microphone back to President Von Braun to moderate this first session. Thank you.